What size water heater do you need for your plumbing system? This is normally something that's figured out before you ever buy a house. You buy a house, it comes with a water heater. Whether you're buying a new house or a used house, they've normally already got the water heater in there. You don't want a water heater that's too small or you're going to run out of hot water while you're in the shower. But also, on the other hand, you don't want one that's too big. You're going to spend a lot of money keeping that water hot all the time if you have a tank type water heater or a storage tank type. Right now, we're going to talk about tank type, but here in a minute, we're going to talk about tankless. And hang around to the very end and I'll give you a tip that'll help you save money no matter which way you go. So the first thing you need to know if you're buying a tank type water heater or replacing one, and just start off with simple common sense. Do you normally run out of hot water or have you always run out of hot water with the tank that's there? If so, you may want to upsize it. Now, before you do this, you need to remember that April 16th of 2015, they changed code and made water heaters actually thicker. They made them more energy efficient. That's good for you, but say you had a 50-gallon water heater tank type in a closet that just barely fit in there. Now, if this new water heater is 2 inches bigger, it may not fit. So make sure no matter which way you go, you measure your opening and you know, can you get the new water heater in the same spot that you pull the other one out? One of the first things you need to know is what is your peak hour load? Meaning, if you've got 2 people in the shower, the dishwasher running, the washing machine running, anything at all, what is the maximum gallons of hot water you need? That is your peak hour rating, your peak hour load. And what you want to know this for? Because that tells you how much water you need, how much hot water you need. So you're going to learn this by taking the numbers that add up. So average gallons per activity, a shower or bath, 20 gallons, shaving, 2 gallons, hands, face washing, something like that, 4 gallons, hair and shampoo, washing it, 4 gallons, dishwashing by hand. If you're washing your dishes in the sink, 4 gallons, automatic dishwasher, 14 gallons, foot preparation, God only knows what that is. Don't even put that in there. Washing machine, 32 gallons of hot water. Now, guys, these are the numbers that are pulled together just to kind of give you a baseline to go by. If you want to know for sure what something takes, learn how to read your meter, go in, turn something on. Let a washing machine go through a full cycle on hot water. Let a dishwasher go through a full cycle. If you want to know exactly how many gallons it's using, learn to read your meter. Run that through a cycle, but look at your meter before and after and figure out exactly how many gallons you used. Now, all that's not going to be hot, but depending on what it is, you'll know if it's all hot water or if it's not. Say you're in a shower or bath, that's normally about 70% hot water. Now, the next thing you need to know is your first hour rating on your water heater. Your first hour rating is normally in the yellow energy code guide that's stuck on it. And what that tells you, your first hour rating, is how many gallons can you get out of that water heater of hot water in 1 hour. And that's going to be important because if you've gone through and calculated that you need, let's say, 80 gallons of hot water an hour. Now remember, this is peak. Are all your showers running? Are you washing clothes? Are you running the dishwasher? What all's running that takes hot water? And calculate that up and say, look, the most we would ever use is 80 gallons of hot water in 1 hour. You need to make sure the first hour rating on the water heater you're looking at is 80 gallons. That way you don't run out. Say you find one that's 65, 75 gallons, and you think, you know what, I might be able to cut down to this and be okay. Just remember that when you're starting to fire up the dishwasher and you know, okay, everybody's going to be in the shower, so maybe I want to wait till we finish to do this. Guys, there's different ways to look at it, but that's how you go through and calculate what size water heater you need. You may be able to find that in a more efficient 40 gallon than in a less efficient 50 gallon. So look at the numbers, compare them, and find out what it's going to cost you to operate that water heater for a year and find out where you can save the most money for you. Now, tankless water heaters are a little bit different. Now, I've done videos about tankless water heaters and explaining the pros and cons, the good and bad. Is the ROI worth it or not? And guys, if you want to check those out, check them out. It'll tell you a lot about them. Some information that maybe you don't know. But one thing I'll tell you when it comes to sizing a tankless water heater. I went over to work on a house and install a tankless water heater for a lady. She had already picked it out. We installed it, but when we went to hook it up, we realized there was something wrong. She was getting water out of the hot and cold side. When we called her and asked her about it, she said, well, I'm doing a remodel upstairs because of a flood we had. She had a different plumbing company, and I use that term very loosely. She had a different company up there installing a new shower, body sprays, multiple, shower rain heads, multiple, regular shower heads, multiple. So she had literally 2 complete showers in one. It was built a little bit bigger, great custom shower, but you're talking 8 shower heads. And each one of those shower heads were about 2.5 gallons apiece. Let's say they were 2. That is 16 gallons of water coming through all those heads. Here's the problem. The little water heater that she had picked out only would put out 4.5 gallons of hot water per minute. If you're running a shower head or multiple ones at 16 gallons a minute and your water heater's only making 4.5 gallons of hot water per minute, it doesn't add up. She ended up having to add additional tankless water heaters. The reason being, that is one of the things that we have to look at when it comes to sizing a tankless. How many gallons do you need? With tankless water heaters, it's gallons per minute. Because what a tankless water heater does, you've got to know your incoming water temperature. Here in the North Texas area, normally it's about 70 degrees. Then you've got to figure out how hot of water you want coming out of it. Say you want 140. 140 is the maximum temperature you would ever want coming out of a water heater. In a commercial situation in a kitchen, up to 180. But guys, even at 140, that can get very hot. But what it does, the way a tankless water heater works, it slows down the flow to keep the water in the heat exchanger long enough to heat it up that extra temperature. That's what determines how many gallons per minute you can get out. If you look at them, if you turn the temperature down, your gallons per minute can go up. So if you turn it down to 100 degrees, you're going to get more gallons per minute through it. So what you need to do is you need to look at how many gallons per minute do you need. We looked at that earlier. What is your hourly rating? What are the maximum amount of gallons of water that you're going to need per hour? Whenever we looked at that earlier, we were talking about a tank type, so it was for an hour because we know that tank's always going to be full. But on a tankless, it's a little bit different. And you can say, well, 70 gallons that we looked at earlier, or 80, divided by 60 minutes, it kind of adds up. The minute, you're only going to need a little over 1.25 gallons per minute. Wouldn't that work? No, because that's based on like a 10 or 20 minute shower. So take that 20-minute shower and now put in the 20 gallons. Guys, it doesn't add up. When you start doing the math and looking at how many gallons per minute you're going to need from those heads for the washing machine, for the dishwasher, for the kitchen sink, anything else that runs hot water, you want to go a tankless water heater that actually has the maximum gallons per minute allowed through it that it'll do. And guys, that's a hard calculation. It's one you got to figure because that's the biggest problem people have with tankless water heaters. One time I went out to a guy's house. He had a tankless water heater just for his Roman tub. He got really upset because he had it turned all the way up to 140. When he opened the hot water on his Roman tub, it would come out real fast at first and then it would slow down. The reason being, he had his temperature up to 140. And I asked him, do you like it that hot or do you add cold water? He says, no, I add cold water. So what I did is I turned the temperature on his tankless water heater to 110. It didn't slow down at all. Now his tub filled. All he did was not add near as much cold water, and it worked. Tankless water heaters are great. Make sure you get one that's big enough to help you do what you need to do. You don't want to run out. But again, you don't want to keep 100 gallons of water a day hot all day long if you're never going to use it. So make sure you take the time to figure out what you need to replace and what you need to replace it with, and do it wisely. Now, my hot tip, if you really want to help yourself and improve things, if you can get to your plumbing pipes, insulate them. If you're building a house, make sure you insulate at least your hot water pipes. It'll help the hot water in the line stay hotter the further you get away from the water heater, and therefore you're not going to use as much hot water because it's not going to be cooler. You're going to be able to turn it a little colder, use less hot water, and that's going to allow you more. Also, if you can insulate your tank, and I know they've got the new ones with the more insulated tanks, but anything you can do to insulate your water heater tank or your lines, even at the water heater, is going to help you have more hot water for a longer period of time. So guys, if you've installed a different size water heater for either your house or a customer, do me a favor and let me know. If you upsized it or downsized it, did it work? Did they have enough hot water, or did we cause them to run out of hot water, and how'd that work out for you? Anyway, I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber, and I'll see you on the next video if you don't get flushed.